up everyone, my name is Marie, welcome to my channel and welcome to another speed build. So for today's video I have a very big build for you all. As you can see, this is a build on a lot in Brindleton Bay, and it's one of the bigger lots in Brindleton Bay. This is, I believe it's a 50 by 50 if I'm not mistaken. It could be 40 by 40, but I'm pretty sure it's a 50 by 50. And I built a farmhouse including horses on this lot. Ever since the horse ranch pack came out, I have been wanting to do a build in Brindleton Bay combining farm life with horses and stuff in this world, because I feel like they would go really, really well together. And how dreamy is it to like live on this lot by the coast and like have horses and things? I don't know. I just feel like that is very dreamy and very, very fun. So that is what I did for this video today, and I hope you have some time to just sit back and relax and enjoy the video, because as you can see, this is a very long video. It took me a long time to build this house because it is big. And big houses tend to be a little bit overwhelming for me. They always take me a little bit of time. I'm not the fastest builder, and I'm definitely an overthinker as well, so it always takes me a little bit to get through it. But I had a lot of fun with it, which is I think what's the most important part of it all. And I also just really enjoy how the shape of this house came together. I basically just kept adding on to it. There's all these little bumps and all these little nooks and crannies to the house that I just think are so, so cute. I was looking at a reference picture that I found on Pinterest for part of the house, basically for like the little front porch area, and then there is a little dormer there as well. That's kind of something I saw on Pinterest that I enjoyed and that I tried to recreate, and then I just kept adding on to it to basically turn it into a full-on farmhouse. And so I think it turned out pretty well. And I also obviously had to do a barn on this build because it is a farmhouse and I wanted there to be stables, and I also wanted there to be an area for nectar making because I thought that would be fun to include. So there is that as well. So we have a full-on barn with horse stables. There's an area for 2 horses, so I did 2 stables. And I also in the end decided to include a bunch of goats and sheep. So I just used debug goats and sheep. So if you download this build off the gallery, there will be some sheep and goats ready for you, which I think is just a lot of fun. It's really cute. But here you can see I was getting started with the barn and I was very unsure about it. I had a lot of trial and error to get through with this barn. I think I actually cut out part of the footage as well because it did take me a little bit of time to actually figure out how to do it. What I like about this barn is that it ends up having a lofted area where I did all the nectar making and stuff. So there's going to be a ladder going up to the 2nd floor, and the 2nd floor is like this lofted area, like I said, that is open to the ground floor, and then that is where all the nectar making will be, and where we have all the barrels stacked, and yeah, just the nectar making station as well. I know it's not very realistic because you probably don't want to have all those barrels like on top, like on a 2nd floor, if that makes sense. I don't think that is the smartest way to go about it, but it's just what it is. Also, this house does not have a basement, so if you wanted to store your nectar in a basement, this house doesn't have one. You could always include one. There's a lot of space actually to this barn, so you could actually add a basement to the barn if you wanted to very easily, and have a ladder go down there as well, because there's a lot of open space here in the barn for your Sims to walk around. You'll see it once we get to it. Like I said, it was a lot of trial and error with this barn. So the final like layout of the barn, you'll see that once we actually start to furnish the thing, after we do the entire house basically and all the landscaping and stuff. But you can kind of see how it's coming together, sort of. It ends up having some dormers as well, which is great because it adds a little bit of space to the 2nd floor as well. But then for the rest, for the barn, the layout is a little bit strange because basically what I did, like I wanted the stables for the horses to be like opened up so that they could freely roam around in between the stable and the enclosed space outside, basically. But I didn't want them to be able to reach the front door of the barn, if that makes sense. So there is another like fence inside the barn with a gate, so you can lock that for your horses, if that makes sense. You'll see it once we get to it, and I'll also explain it when we do the little little tour of the video at the end of the speed build portion, so you can kind of see what I ended up doing. But yeah, for the house, for the color scheme and the overall vibe, this is a coastal farmhouse, so I really wanted to try and include all these coastal vibes. So at first, I really wanted to go for all light and white wood tones, kind of like washed out wood tones, if that makes sense. And then also a lot of that faded blue color. So the entire barn ended up being this faded blue color, and I think that's very pretty. I feel like it goes really nicely in this world. It fits right in. And then for the rest of the house actually ended up being a darker wood color. It's still a little bit like washed out looking, but definitely a darker wood color combined with some stone as well on the exterior. Just to have a little bit of a, you know, variety and textures and things on the exterior. But I basically used all horse ranch exterior wallpapers, and doors and windows actually, wait, no, I used cats and dogs doors and windows on this house. Right, that's why I enjoyed it so much, because I used cats and dogs windows, and it combines so well with the horse ranch stuff. So that just kind of proves my point that these two packs go very, very nicely together. I mean, they're both very rustic packs, right? So it would make sense that they look good together. But I feel like they definitely did put in some effort to, you know, to just have these different packs that are both rural or like both like countryside oriented, if that makes sense. Like rustic, to have them both go together nicely. And yeah, I'm very happy with how this build came out. The floor plan for this house took a while. I did that one off camera because, my goodness, it took me hours. I figured it out in the end, and the house, like I said, is really big. So we ended up having, I have to think about this for a second. I think we have 4 bedrooms total. Yeah, we have 4 bedrooms total. We have 3 bedrooms upstairs, 1 bedroom downstairs, and then there is 4 bathrooms. Yes, one of them is a laundry space slash bathroom with a shower and toilet. And then we have one other hallway bathroom that is, it's not an ensuite to the bedroom downstairs, but it is very close by. And then there is an ensuite to the parents' bedroom upstairs. And then there's a hallway bathroom upstairs for the children to share. So there is a lot of space in this house. I actually ended up making space for a total of 7 Sims, which is more than you could have if you also wanted to have 2 horses. And I also included stuff for a dog. So if you wanted to have 2 horses and a dog, then that already takes up 3 spots, sadly, in your household, and then you can only have 5 Sims. But I was definitely thinking of this farmhouse as a multi-generational farm, so I definitely decorated the downstairs bedroom with the grandparents in the back of my mind, and then there is, like I said, an upstairs bedroom, including an ensuite for the parents, and then there is a shared children's bedroom, which I think turned out really cute, and then my favorite room of the house, I think, is the teenager's bedroom. I'm so excited about how the teenager's bedroom turned out. You'll see it once we get to it, but I'm just very happy with the color scheme and the messiness, and it just like screams teenager to me. And I was definitely thinking that the kids, and most definitely also the teenager in this house, are very much into horse riding. So I was thinking that the teenager, personality-wise, I didn't really think of anything very specifically, but teenagers just always kind of come naturally to me. When I'm like decorating their bedrooms and things, I'm like, their personality just kind of come to me, and I really wanted to try and reflect that in their bedroom as well. So I was definitely thinking that the teenager is very serious about their horse riding, and they participate in a lot of championships. They basically win a lot of prizes too, and it's definitely their dream to become a professional horse rider. Is that how you say that? Oh my God, I should know this. I used to have a horse when I was little. I did my fair share of horse riding. Me and my sister shared a horse, actually. We had one. She was more serious about it. She's a little bit older than I am, and she was always a little bit more serious about the whole thing. She, up until this day, is very much a horse girly. She doesn't have horses anymore, but she did have horses up until like a few years ago. She has kids now, so it's a little bit more difficult to make time for the horses. But yeah, up until just right before, even when she was still pregnant, she had horses, and she did her fair share of horse riding as well. But for the time being, she doesn't have them. But it's fun because every time I go visit, this is a little bit more of like a personal rant, a little bit of a personal side story, if you will. So I hope that's interesting. But my sister, she actually lives abroad. So every time I visit her, when she had horses, it was a lot of fun because, I mean, it's still a lot of fun, but when she had horses, we used to go horse riding together, and it was so fun because it was so very like nostalgic for the both of us, and that was always a lot of fun. Obviously, it's still a lot of fun to visit her, especially now that I have nephews, you know. But still, like, it was fun. Horse riding basically definitely is very nostalgic to me, and it's something I'm most definitely familiar with. So to me, it's a lot of fun to actually build these stables and kind of see what would make sense to me, like how I would personally want to have it organized and laid out, and what would be the dream, because back in the day, obviously, it was our dream to have the horses at home and like have this kind of a barn and living situation that I'm basically building right now in The Sims. That was literally our dream when we were children. That never actually happened, but it's still like a lot of fun to just like fantasize about it. And this house also ends up including chickens and an area for farming as well, because I definitely wanted to do as much as possible when it comes to like farmhouse vibes. So lots of animals, lots of farming, chickens, everything is basically included in this lot. So I feel like there is a lot to do, which always makes me really happy. I almost ended up not placing the chickens because I couldn't really find a proper spot for them. And it made some of my friends in my Twitch chat really happy, because I did do this landscaping on over on Twitch. And I couldn't find a spot for the chickens at first. And it made some of my friends in the chat really happy because they always joke about how I always place chickens, and if I can please not do chickens, you know, for one build. But I ended up placing them anyway, and I found a great spot for them, so that was nice. And then for the rest of the landscaping, it took a while for everything to like come together, basically, because it is a really big lot, and the landscaping, as much as I enjoy landscaping, is one of my favorite things when it comes to The Sims. This one was pretty overwhelming because there was a lot to do. There were a lot of pathways to create, and yeah, stuff like that. So it took up a little bit of time, but I was very happy that for this build specifically, I remembered the beautiful rose bushes from the cottage living debug. So I actually went crazy with those. I finally remembered to use them, and they just, oh, they're so pretty, and they add a little bit of color to the build with the colored roses, of course. So that was so much fun to do. And then, yeah, for the rest of the landscaping, it's pretty overwhelming. There's a lot of plants. So I don't know, it's kind of a massive build. I did try to, you know, tone it down on the clutter on the inside of the house a little bit to make it a little bit more playable. The build was fine on my computer, but I mean, maybe not everybody has a higher end gaming PC, so I can understand that maybe this build would be a little bit much for specific computers, but you can always go through and just, you know, delete some of the landscaping and simplify it a little bit. It's really not that big of a deal. And then for the clutter on the inside, I feel like I did a good job. Like, it's definitely still lived in, but it's not overwhelmingly cluttered decorations in every little nook and cranny of the entire build, you know? It's cluttered in the spaces where it makes sense, and it's less cluttered in the spaces where, you know, it doesn't need to be as cluttered, where normally maybe I would put all these little knickknacks and things on the coffee table, but you could also just not do that for a change. So I decided to really try and not do that for a change, and I think I did a good job. And then for the landscaping, yeah, you can see that we're kind of trying to finish it up here. I did most of the plants placement, basically, if that makes sense. And I also scrolled through debug. Like, it took me so long to scroll through debug and find all these plants that I wanted to use, and I definitely took my time with it, but it was so much fun. Like, it's so much fun to landscape a build like this. I feel, like I said, even though it is pretty overwhelming, I just really enjoy it, and you can really just see the build come to life, basically, with all the landscaping and the terrain paint and stuff. And then I also placed some barrel racing in the area for the horses, because this is Brindleton Bay, so there is no horse training like jumps or barrels in the neighboring like areas, like in the world, like we have in Chestnut Ridge. But obviously that's not the case here, so you can very easily just travel to Chestnut Ridge with your horse and do training there, but it's also nice to have an opportunity to train on the lot, I feel. So I decided to place some barrels in the horse area so you can just use that if you wanted to. And then obviously I had to place the horse trailer and also a car from Debug because they're just such good place fillers, especially for a driveway like this. It is just so nice. And then here we have the front porch, and the front porch is actually pretty massive. So I decided to just like decorate this a little bit. We have a little bench and a rocking chair that definitely look like outdoor furniture. And then over here, I just went crazy with some little plants and things from the greenhouse. Is it Greenhouse Oasis? I think it's called Greenhouse Oasis kit, right? I am misremembering all these pack names because we have so many these days, and the kits come out so quickly that I'm like, I don't have enough time to get familiar with the names of these packs, if that makes sense. I'm like, it's always multiple packs or kits coming out at the same time, usually. So I'm like, oh my God, there's so many things happening at once. And then I just don't have enough time to get familiar with these names. But I think it's a Greenhouse Oasis, but I might be wrong. Anyway, you can see that I placed a lot of the greenhouse clutter to kind of like reflect the fact that maybe people do some planting over there on the front porch, like little plants and stuff, like baby plants. I don't really know. I don't really know a lot about planting and gardening, if you can't tell. I don't have a backyard. If I did have a backyard, I would love to actually have a garden with like veggies and grow my own produce. I think that would be so extremely satisfying. I used to never be into that, but for some reason, the more I think about it, it would be so cool to like grow your own tomatoes and things. I know it's not easy. I probably wouldn't succeed at first, but it's so much fun to think about, to just like grow your own produce. It's so like rewarding and satisfying, I feel. But yeah, we have moved on to the inside of the house. So here you can see we have a front door leading you basically straight into the living room space. We do have two living rooms in this house. There's this one right here. This is more of like the family area by the fireplace, and there is also going to be a TV here. And then on the other side of the house there is an area that is almost like a sunroom. It's not a complete sunroom with windows all around, but it looks like a sunroom. It has a lot of really big windows, just like not all around. And there is another living room in there. That one does not have a TV, but it's more of like I feel like it's more of like a reading area. There's no TV there, but there are a couple couches, there is a bookcase, there is an easel if you wanted to do some painting. There is also a record player there, so you could listen to some music in there. It's more of like a hobby space. I think I also ended up placing some knitting baskets and things in there. So it's more of like a skill building hobby space, that one, whereas this one is more the family watching TV, having your tea kind of a room, this one. And for the color scheme of this house, I went for neutrals and I combined it with softer colors. So I really, for example, like these blue or teal. I'm not exactly sure what you would call that color, but I really like those couches in the living room. I feel like they add a little bit of color. It's still muted and it still feels very coastal. Coastal is definitely a theme I try to take and like make visible throughout the entire build. So you can definitely tell that this is more of a coastal oriented Brindleton Bay kind of a farmhouse type thing. That's what I was trying, at least. So definitely let me know what you think. I think it turned out really nice. And yeah, you can see that we have a little bit of an entryway space here as well that I wasn't sure what to do with because it's so big. And usually, especially for these bigger houses, usually what I do is like I close off the entryway space, and usually I'll have the staircase there and sometimes a half bathroom off of there, because that is something that I'm just so used to. But for this house, the way the floor plan worked out, I didn't really do a closed off entry. There is an entryway space, it's just not all the way closed off, as you can see. So that was a little bit different for me. You basically walk straight into the living room, even though it's very spacious and there is a little area there for you to hang your coat and drop your keys and your phone, if that makes sense. And then I did end up closing off the space where the staircase is, because right now it's a very big open space. And as much as I love that, there was this really awkward space in between where you can see the staircase, and then across from the staircase, there is a door into the, what's going to be the laundry / bathroom. And that space was so awkward. Like I didn't have any space to put anything because the way the areas just laid out with the door and the staircase and stuff, like it just wasn't really working out for me. So I wanted to create a little bit more wall space. So what I did was, as you can see here, I just closed in that little area, and we have a little in-between hallway there, but it still feels very open and flowy because I created these archways with columns and spandrels. So it still feels very flowy and open, but it is closed off, and I gave myself a little bit more wall space with that to kind of close in the areas and make it a little bit more cozy feeling, if that makes sense. That's what it feels like to me anyway. And yeah, I think that just turned out really nice. And then you can see that over here I had some space for bookcases because I hadn't placed any of those yet. Usually I'll have some bookcases in the living room space, but the way this one worked out, I just didn't. But then we have some bigger bookcases in the hallway by this staircase, so that worked out perfectly fine. And then the kitchen, oh my goodness, the kitchen took me a while. I actually did part of this on stream because I was furnishing the house. I was just like fiddling around with the kitchen, as you can see, because oh my god, it's so big, there's so much space, and how the heck do we lay this out, you know? So I kind of had to take a break, and then I came back to it on stream, which was nice. So I actually finished up the kitchen and the rest of the downstairs area on stream. It was so much fun because I had some help. People had brilliant ideas for example, the cabinet situation and stuff, so that was very helpful because the cabinet situation was so difficult for this one. We're on medium wall height too, which always I just always get so put off when I'm using the medium wall height because it messes with my brain. I don't know, I'm just so not used to having the medium wall height and the tall walls for like kitchens and cabinets and things. It just always messes with me. But I feel like it turned out great. I was able to figure out how to place it all down in the end, thankfully. And then I also wanted to do a little bit of a backsplash kind of accent wall situation in here, so I decided to go for some wood paneling from Cats and Dogs here in the kitchen in this very like light gray blue-ish color. And what I'm really enjoying about this kitchen is the blue appliances. You can see that at first I actually used the countertop stove, but I decided later on to not use that one and actually go for a full-on stovetop that matches the fridge. Those are from the Country Kitchen Kit, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. I always confuse Cottage Living kitchen set and the Country Kitchen Kit kitchen set. I always confuse the two because they're very different, but they have a similar vibe. But I think these are from the kit, and I think they're really pretty. I love this muted dark blue grayish color. It's so pretty, and it fits the vibe of this coastal home just perfectly. So I was so happy about that. And then I ended up cluttering up the kitchen as well, and we have a very nice spacious dining table also with those blue chairs, which just match the color of the appliances perfectly, and it just all comes together so nicely. I feel like for a real life build, all the blue details that I'm using would be a little bit too matchy-matchy, but for a Sims build, you know, it's actually perfect. So I'm so happy with how this all came out in the end. And then here for the kitchen, I obviously had to do a little bit of clutter. Like I said, I did try to tone it down on the clutter for the entirety of this build, but I did have to clutter up certain spaces to just, you know, make it look lived in and realistic. And here I also cluttered up this shelf with some stackable plates. One thing I found with the stackable plates from Horse Ranch, I love to stick or to slot other little clutter items to them. For example, this tea mug and also the other stack of plates from Snowy Escape. I like to slot those to the stackable plates, but what I find is the game deletes that clutter. So if I load out of the house and then back into it, or if I close my game and come back to it the next day, the clutter that I slotted to the plates will be gone, like no exceptions. Like it has happened to me 100% of the time ever since I've been doing that. So I feel like that's a little bit glitched. I'm also not alt placing it, like I'm literally just slotting it to the plates. So I don't really know why the game isn't liking that, but it's not liking that. But I love stacking the cups to the plates. I feel like it just looks really, really cute and just so realistic. I don't know what it is with stackable plates, but they make me extremely, extremely happy. I know it's so silly. But here you can see we also have this large island situation that I tried to clutter up as well with some fruit and just some dishes that would make sense. And I also placed some flowers on there. And then for the dining table, we have those beautiful loaves that I placed. They're a base game. They were recently added to with a base game update, and I'm so happy they added those. They're so pretty and they're so useful, especially for like family-oriented homes like this. There is something about having some baked goods out in the Sims, in your Sims kitchens, that just makes it so homey and cozy looking. Honestly, I wish we had more decorative food items like that. How fun would it be to just not only baked goods like the fruitcake and the loaves, but just other stuff too, like full-on plates with like food on them, like meals, or you know, maybe plates that are half like done, if that makes sense, like with just the meal that's been eaten into, if that makes sense. Like I think that would be so fun to have, just like some decorative food. How cool would that be? We have a couple things, but I really hope they keep adding to it, because it's so useful for kitchen clutter, and it just makes your build look so realistic, and it really makes it come to life, which to me personally is very important. That is one of the things I enjoy the most about building, is making a build come to life with little details. That is just something I generally really enjoy in this game. But here you can see, this is that sunroom that I was talking about earlier. It's not windowed all around, but it definitely does have these really big windows from the horse ranch pack, and I haven't really gotten a lot of use out of these beautiful big windows, so I was so happy I got to place them here in this build, and just create this sunroom slash extra living room space, because these windows are very beautiful. They let in all the natural beautiful light, and it's just very charming the way this room like has the sunlight coming through. It makes me very happy. It's very wholesome. I for one would definitely be able to sit here for hours and read my book, you know, like I would enjoy that. I would enjoy that a lot. And then you can see that I also ended up placing some skill building items, the cross-stitching basket, the knitting basket, and we also have a record player in here because I wanted this space to be a little bit more functional than the other living room. The other living room is functional in the sense that you can sit there and watch TV, or like maybe read a book or something, but that's really it. Whereas this one is a little bit more of your active living room space. I feel like that makes sense with the easel and the music and the other little skill building items. There's also a bookcase in there as well, so that makes sense too. And obviously, because it is partially a sunroom, I had to add lots of plants. One thing I added a lot throughout this entire build is my favorite hanging plant in the game. It's the hanging plant from the Blooming Rooms kit. I overuse it. I'm aware of it. I always use it whenever I get the chance. In any type of build, I will find an excuse to use it. And I definitely overuse it in this build as well. I place it in multiple rooms. I feel like in almost every room I place it at least once. So that's a little bit problematic. But also I feel like it's just such a good plant. And it comes in a good variety of swatches too. So it's pretty easy to make it look like it's not too repeated. And yeah, I'm just overall very happy with how I made that work. And then here off of the kitchen, we have an archway leading you into a study space as well, which you could easily turn this into another bedroom if you needed one. But there's definitely a lot of bedrooms, so I don't think you would need that. All the bedrooms could easily be shared because they're really big. And I don't think you would need another one. But if you did, then here is an office space for you. But I really like how this office space came out. I used this large dining table for a desk, so it could fit under the window perfectly. And I placed a computer and just some little knickknacks as well. Normally, I would go crazy and place clutter all over the entire desk basically, but now I just use the actual slots that were there, and I just placed some really cute small clutter items and a light and stuff. And then that was it. Like, I really had to put myself to a stop and not go crazy with it, and I didn't do it, and I feel like it just looks really nice. It's not as overwhelming, I feel. And obviously I had to use those beautiful bookcases from the Book Nook kit, and I placed a debug ladder against it, and I used Tool to kind of rotate it and like place it against it perfectly. That ladder is from Cats and Dogs Debug, by the way. So if you wanted to use that little trick, then you can easily go ahead and do that. And then one thing I totally spaced out on mentioning this at the beginning of the video. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I spaced out on that. But I actually built this house for a collab that I'm in with 3 of my friends. I'm in a collab with Simmary, Yohannasims, and Yohannasims. And we're basically redoing the entire world of Brindleton Bay together with the 4 of us in a fall type of a setting. So you'll see that the thumbnail and the screenshots and stuff are all taken in the fall, which I know it's August, but I mean, we're halfway through August at this point. I feel like I'm officially excited. I'm officially allowed to get excited for fall time, okay? So it's all very fall themed and just like cozy fall vibes. And it's the Ready for Fall collab, and we will be releasing a save file once we're done with the entire rebuild of Brindleton Bay. We don't have a set date for it or anything, but I'll definitely be doing more lots, so I'll be talking about it a little bit more, and once we have more news on when the save file is going to release, and I will obviously tell you about that. But I will also make sure to link my friends, fellow creators in the description box down below, so if you want to give their channels some love, please feel free to do that. But yeah, we're basically rebuilding the entire world of Brindleton Bay. It's not pack restricted. We decided to give ourselves as much creative freedom as possible, and we decided to not do a restricted pack build, which I understand, like, that's a little bit annoying for some people because you probably don't have all the packs. But I don't know, we just really wanted to try and do something that was not pack restricted, because usually when we do collabs, it's usually pack restricted, which is a lot of fun and makes it so that a lot of people can use the save file in the end. But we were like, you know what, let's just, for a change, just not do that. So we decided not to do it. But yes, I will obviously let you know more about the save file that we'll be releasing when everything is done, somewhere towards the end of the fall probably. But we'll see how we go, maybe sooner. It's a lot of work to like redo an entire world amongst just like the 4 of us. It's a lot of lots to fill. But we're getting through it, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm sure that the builds that my friends are going to create are going to be wonderful. So please feel free to give them some love on Instagram and YouTube and stuff. I will link their socials down below, obviously, as well. And one thing I really like about this house is this laundry room. It was so spacious that I was like, you know what? I have an area that I could fully close off and turn into a small bathroom. So I decided to close off like 3 tiles and create a little bathroom with a shower and a toilet. And then for the rest, we have the laundry machines, obviously, and we have a sink in the laundry space as well, so that is all nice and functional. I'm really liking how this bathroom came out. And then there's 2 more bathrooms upstairs as well, but I only actually recorded the ones downstairs, otherwise it would be a little bit too repetitive. Like, they're all basically the same vibe, so it's not really necessary, I feel like, to record all of them, because that would be a little bit too repetitive. But I will obviously show you the rest of the bathrooms once we tour the build, of course, so you can get a glimpse at the rest of them. But here we have the 2nd bedroom downstairs, which is the one that is closer to the bedroom downstairs, whereas the other bathroom is closer to the kitchen, I feel, and also is a laundry space. So that one's a bit more of a guest bathroom, I feel like. But yeah, this is the 2nd one, and it's very spacious. The bathrooms in this build overall are just so much bigger than I usually make them. So I was definitely, I know it's very random and bathrooms aren't very exciting, but I was just struggling to make them look nice because they're so much bigger than what I usually do. I always like to keep my my bathrooms very small and just like easy to decorate and no bigger than they need to be. It's funny because in real life, I would love to have a big bathroom with space to actually, you know, walk around, if that makes sense. I don't know. Not that I would be walking around in my bathroom, but it would just, I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to say that it would be nice to have some space to live and breathe in a bathroom. It's because right now my bathroom, if I'd have to describe it in Sims size proportions, my bathroom would be 3 tiles, or actually I feel like 2.5 tiles, like narrow 3 tiles or 2.5 tiles in a row, with a shower on one side, a little bit of space in between, and a sink on the other side. Like, that is literally my entire bathroom. I also have a toilet, but it's in its own room, in case you were wondering about that. But yeah, so for that reason, it's my dream to have a big bathroom. I don't even necessarily want a tub. Like, I don't really care about a tub, but I just would like to have the space for one, you know? It's just nice to have a big bathroom with like an actual window for natural light and air, and like that would be the dream. So in real life, I love them. In The Sims, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. What are you gonna do with a big bathroom? It looks fancy, but what are you really gonna do with it? So, but for this house, I had so much space, and the floor plan just ended up the way it did. And so the bathrooms were pretty big. I could have made them smaller and made the other rooms bigger, but that wouldn't really make sense for the floor plan either. So it's just what it is. But yeah, here you can see we're working on the parents' bedroom upstairs. We have a really big landing area that is definitely very spacious and has plenty of room, you know, for activities. So if you wanted to add more skill building items or more activities, if you wanted to, for example, add another easel or a chess table or like some extra toys for children, you can definitely go through and add that on the landing. If you needed something else that is more personal to your Sims and like the activities that you like to do with them, then you could definitely use the landing space for that. But I just kind of kept it pretty generic with some wardrobes, some storage closets, I guess, and just a little couch and some decorations and stuff. But then for the parents' bedroom, I have the space for these 2 built-in wardrobes, which I think just looks really cool. So they have this huge closet kind of a situation in here. Their bedroom is very spacious and not that full of stuff. So they have a lot of space to walk around in their bedroom and also in their bathroom, actually. So that's actually pretty nice, and it just feels very nice and big and spacious and open, and like I said, it's not too crazy with clutter, but it definitely does have some items in it. And then for the kids' bedroom, I actually also ended up giving them a built-in wardrobe. So all the bedrooms, except for the one downstairs, have built-in wardrobes. And for the children's bedroom, I decided to go for this sheep theme. When you look at the bedding, I love these matching beds with the sheep bedding in different colors. It's so, so cute. I think that sheep bedding with the stars and the moon on it is one of my favorite swatches of this bed for children's rooms. I think it's just so, so, so cute. So this kid's room is pretty spacious, so I immediately kind of decided that I wanted it to be a shared bedroom because there's just so much space here. Like, it wouldn't make sense to just have one kid sleep in this room. So 2 beds it is, and I also added a desk and the big dollhouse that came with the horse ranch pack. I only had to size it down once this time. I always size down the dollhouses because they're massive and I just don't really like how they look. So I always size them down, usually twice, but because this room is so big, I only sized it down once. So yeah, there's definitely some space for the kids to play. And I also wanted to include a creativity or crafting table for the children that I actually did put on the landing area because I didn't really have a good area for it in this room. Because I did place like these bookcases and this big desk and stuff because I just really liked how that looked and I really didn't want to change that for the sake of a crafting table. So I cluttered up this desk with some stuff that I felt like would make sense for kids. From the mostly stuff from the Growing Together kit. They come with these really, really cute crafting decorations. It would be even more cool if they were functional. We have 2 of them, so I feel like it'd be so cool if one of them could be functional, so you could make a crafting table out of any surface with a chair. And then the other one could be decorative, but they're both decorative and I still love them, so I use them in here. And we have a little nightstand, obviously, in between the beds and a blarfy to the side of the bed as well. And then I just basically cluttered up the room with like some appropriate decorations. And then this is my favorite bedroom of the house. This is the teenager's room. Also, I do realize that I repeated that same painting and that same swatch with the horses throughout this entire build a couple times, but I just kind of forgot that I had placed it before, and I just really like that the framing is white, and I just really like the picture in it too. Like, this is kind of like a horse teen. So I really wanted to include that picture, and I guess that's okay. You could go through and like add or change the swatch, but I don't know. I just really like it. But this is the teenager's room. It is definitely a little bit of a mismatch of furniture. As you can see, they do have their own desk. They have a nice double bed, and I'm loving this red swatch of the wallpaper that came with Cottage Living. Combined with blue furniture, or like the color blue just kind of like throughout the whole room, basically, for the bedding, for the chair, for the little one tile wardrobe that I'm using in here. They also have their built-in wardrobe, but I just wanted to give them a little bit of extra storage space, if that makes sense. And then I combined it also with some yellow accents. So this room is basically just a little bit of a colorful mess, but it's not that bad in the sense that it's not too mismatched. It's definitely a little bit mismatched, but it's like in a cute way, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I tried to achieve for this teenager's room, and it's definitely my favorite room of the build. I didn't give them a computer this time. I usually like to do that for teenagers, but for this one I decided to just give them a tablet, which is what I figured they would use for school the most. And then they have this dresser with a mirror from Cottage Living as well. I used this one in the downstairs bedroom as well, but I feel like it's not too repeated because this is in a different swatch. And here you can see I placed their horse riding trophy that they have won. And you know, just a little bit of teenage clutter, if you will. And I also actually added that hanging plant in this room as well because I just couldn't help myself. It just looked so cute. And then here on the wall by the bed, I actually decided to place one of those big posters, obviously the colorful one with a horse on it because this is a horse sim after all. And then I just cluttered up their nightstand a little bit for just, you know, some final touch-ups, some final little details added to the build. Oh, and one thing I didn't realize is I used the same rug in the teens room as I did in the dining room. I completely blanked out on the fact that I had used that one in the dining room, so I also used it in the teenager's room. But, you know, I guess it's fine. At least it's not on the same floor, so it's not that noticeable, I feel like, but I did use it twice. So if you wanted to go through and change one of those swatches, I completely understand. But yeah, I just kind of decided to keep it this way because I just like that blue rug in there the most for both rooms. And then here we're moving on to the back porch where I decided to place down a seating area with the nice outdoor furniture from, is it the backyard stuff pack? I think so. Perfect Patio or the backyard stuff pack. I'm not remembering exactly, but it's one of those two. And then we also have a nice round dining table on the back porch as well. The back porch was so much bigger than I kind of had in my brain, if that makes sense. Like for some reason, sometimes I build and I kind of forget about the size proportions. So then I actually am starting to furnish the place and I'm like, oh, in my brain, this room was a lot smaller. I thought the furniture was going to be a lot bigger than it is. So sometimes that just kind of happens, and that happens for the back porch as well. But I actually like how it ended up looking with the living room space and the dining room space. And then here we're moving on to the actual barn. And as you can see, we have the horse stable area that I closed off with a fence by itself as well. So I could just kind of imagine the Sims leaving the stable doors open so the horses can just kind of go in and out on their own. They just kind of have that entire space to roam around. And then on this side of the fence is where I placed all the hay bales and stuff, where like they store the hay bales and everything. And also where they keep like the saddles and the gear for the horse riding. So that the horses can't reach that and can't break it, if that makes sense. Because you don't really want to have that. In a real life, in The Sims, obviously it doesn't matter. But in real life, you wouldn't want to have all this stuff in an area where they could easily reach it, because they will go play with it, they will break stuff. Like you don't really want that. So that was kind of like going through the back of my mind, which is why I closed off this area, like the front of the barn. Basically I closed it off for the horses, because in my mind that just makes the most sense. In The Sims, like I said, it's not necessary, but I enjoyed doing it anyway for the sake of realism, I guess. So this barn I feel like turned out really cute. We have this storage area, as you can see, where we have the saddles and just like a big chest where I feel like you would store the brushes and stuff for your horses, and maybe just some different gear, some different knickknacks. And then in the other area, I also made space for goats. We have a couple of drinking, like water areas. I always forget the word for that in English, but basically the drinking situation. We have two of those out there, and then we just have, some random stuff lying around. I didn't really want to place too many items here because, like I said, you probably wouldn't want to store a lot of items here. And then I actually also went through and placed some debug goats and sheep, and I just think they turned out so cute. I love this area. Oh, it's so dreamy. And then up here, when you go up the ladder, this is where we have the second floor of the barn, and I ended up placing stuff for nectar making, of course, and I also ended up placing a woodworking bench because I wanted to include as many skill building items as I thought would make sense on this lot. The only thing I feel like that could have made sense is a chessboard, but I just didn't end up placing one. But you could easily find a space for it if you wanted to. But up here we have the nectar making, and I just really enjoy the fact that this area is lofted and that you can just kind of look down to the ground floor. I don't really know why, but it just makes me really happy. I just think it turned out really cute. But yeah, this second floor is basically just meant for nectar making and nectar storing, and that is basically it. But that is it for this massive build. So let's jump in the game and I'll quickly show you the house in real time. So here we have the farmhouse in the game. The fall vibes are chef's kiss. Look at all those beautiful color trees and just the ocean in the back. It is so nice. This is what I live for. I cannot describe to you how much I love autumn. So naturally this build and this aesthetic just makes me very happy. But here you can see we have the facade of the build with the front porch, and then we have this pathway leading to the barn where we have a car parked with a trailer, and back here we have the horsies. I have some horsies and some sheep and stuff in here for the screenshots, so that's really cute. They're just vibing. Look at them go. They're just hanging out. It's really, really cute. I love these animals. And then over here we obviously have the back of the house, some farming plots where you can do whatever you want. We have a chicken coop as well. And then over here we have the back porch with a seating area, dining area, a nice grill, a picnic table, and over here we have the stable or the barn. So this is basically the entire area where the horses can just walk around freely, and this area is closed off. So this is where we have all the storage and stuff, some hay bales and things, and then over here is a ladder leading you to the second floor where we have all the wine making, or nectar making I should say, some storage, and also just a chair to sit and hang out. I just thought that that was a cute vibe, so I placed it. And then this area has storage basically, and also a woodworking bench to make it a little bit more functional. Back to the house, like I said, here we have the front porch. It's nice and cluttered with some gardening decorations that I just thought were really cute. And over here we have the front door leading us into the living room space. So there is an entryway space. It's just not all the way closed off, but yeah, we have some storage here. And then over here is the family living room space with a nice fireplace, a TV, these beautiful couches, and then over here are the back doors leading you to the back porch. Then over here is that hallway section with a staircase and a piano in the corner as well. Some bookcases on this side, and then this basically leads you into the laundry space. This is the laundry area. I really like how the laundry space came out. I feel like it's cozy. There's something about laundry areas. I weirdly really like them. They're cozy to me. And then they have a closed off bathroom section in here as well. Over here on this side is the kitchen dining. Oh, I kind of love this area. I know I said the teenager's room is my favorite room, but there is something about this area that I just really like too. Look at this beautiful kitchen with the blue appliances and the island counters, and I feel like just the right amount of clutter. Over here is a little coffee bar in the corner as well with a beautiful painting over it, and a dining room area of course, and then also some stuff for a dog, a couple of food bowls, and then through this archway is the office space. So we have this beautiful reading nook with these very tall bookcases with a ladder, a reading chair in the corner of course, and a nice desk with a computer setup, and then another reading area over here with this really cute little love seat as well. And I had to place the stacked books, of course, from the book nook kit. I love this item. They're so cute. Through here is the sunroom space, sunroom slash skill building, if that makes sense. So lots of plants in here and just these nice yellow couches combined with some blue as well. And we have cross stitching and stuff. We have a bookcase in the corner, an easel, and a record player. And then off of this room is, in my brain, the grandparents' bedroom, but it's really like whatever kind of family you want to have live in this build. But I was thinking grandparents, so this would be the grandparents' room. It's a little bit messy, but I like this orange couch because the color is the exact same as the color in the bedding, and it also kind of matches the throw pillow in this chair. So that was very satisfying to me. They have these wardrobes in here, and you know, just some little knickknacks here in the corner as well. And of course they have their bathroom over here too. Then upstairs we have this landing space that is really big. It's not really functional other than I placed a couple of bookcases and the crafting table for the children, but other than that it's just a big open space that you can do whatever you want with basically. Over here is the parents' room. Once again, I used a lot of blue in here. They have their nice built-in in wardrobes and another little end table across the bed. I was debating placing a TV here, but I decided to go for a mirror because I just like that better. And in this little area, they have their ensuite that I did not record, but they have a really nice double sink situation, as you can see. They have a separate tub and shower, and their shower is a walk-in shower over here in this corner, where I placed a half wall with a window to kind of just like mimic the walk-in shower kind of a situation. So their bathroom is huge, but I feel like I made all right use of the space. I'm not the best with big bathrooms, but I feel like this one turned out pretty well. In here is the kids' room, which is a complete mismatch of patterns and colors. Well, colors not so much, but definitely patterns. A lot of different patterns. They have their beds with the sheep bedding and all these beautiful rugs. Their play area in the corner here with a dollhouse and a toy box, and of course a desk with all these little knickknacks and items on them. And they also have a nice, beautifully built-in wardrobe situation. And across from the kids' room is the teens' room, my favorite bedroom of the house. Blue and red and green, and it has all these colors going on. And you can really tell that this sim is a horse lover, I feel like. And they're also still in high school, so I just wanted to clutter up their room a little bit, make it a little bit messy without it being too overwhelming. And they have another dresser over here with their beautiful horse riding championship first place award kind of thing. I thought that was really cool. Over here is the hall bathroom for the teenager and the kids to share. So this one's more narrow. I'm sorry the camera is being so jumpy. It must have something to do with the platforms that I used. I don't know. But they have this narrow bathroom with a sink over here and then a shower tub combo, some storage, and obviously a toilet in the corner as well. But that is basically it for this house. So this coastal farmhouse is up on the gallery, and I built it on a 40 by 40, so I was wrong about the lot sizing. It's not a 50 by 50, it's a 40 by 40 in Brindleton Bay. It has 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, and it comes in at just over a 180,000 simoleons. So it's very expensive, but you know, that's what it is. And also I used a bunch of packs, but you know, I kind of told you that was the case, so I'm sorry, but I had a lot of fun with this build, so I guess it's just what it is. But if you want to download it off the gallery, it's right there for you. But that's gonna do it for today's video, so I really hope that you enjoyed this one. You can obviously go ahead and download this build off the gallery, like I just showed you. My username on the gallery is simmarysims. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok if you'd like. My username on there is simmarysims as well. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, feel free to do so, and if you want to be notified of every single time I upload a video, just click that little bell icon and you should be fine. I also live stream over on Twitch a few times a week, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and give me a follow over on twitch.tv/simmarysims. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!